Mainstream media is actually picking it up.
Crime, a well-known convicted killer is coming at Casey Anthony for launching her career as a legal advocate.
You think these are fighting words for Gypsy and Casey Anthony? What do you guys think? Do you think we're going to have a fight brewing on our hands between the war of the schmurderers? Who's going to hold the crown, Gypsy Rose or Casey Anthony, of the most hated or loved schmurderer in the world? I don't know. Who do you think? What do you think's going to happen? I think there's a fight brewing.
I am a legal advocate. I am a researcher. I've been in the legal field since 2011.
She's been in the legal field since 2011. That's when her daughter was unalived, 2011. So having your daughter unalived brought you into the legal field. Okay.
In this capacity, I feel that it's necessary, if I'm going to continue to operate appropriately as a legal advocate, that I start to advocate for myself and also advocate for my daughter. I'm doing this both personally for me, but
wouldn't that be perfect? Like, she gets so fed up that she's like, Gypsy Rose is no princess. Let me show you. And then she can use her PI work and go to work and really show Gypsy Rose who she really is.
But in a professional,
you could get all the Gypsy Rose stands over to Casey Anthony.
Capacity. My goal is to continue to help give a voice to people, to give people tools and resources that they can utilize so they actually know where they can turn to.
None other than Gypsy Rose says that Casey should not be giving legal advice to anyone, let alone making them pay for it. You'll recall Gypsy Rose served 7 years in prison for her role in the 2015 murder of her own mother. But she's apparently offering advice to Luigi Mangione. You know him, the man accused of killing the United Healthcare CEO. And Gypsy Rose is also offering some advice to the Menendez brothers as well. So the question we're asking our power panel, is Gypsy right to call out Casey? Let's bring in our guest.
Is Gypsy right to be giving advice to anybody?
This morning, Dr. Debbie Goodman, Jennifer Coffindaffer, and Joe Tamburino. Good morning to you all. Okay, Dr. Debbie, what do you say?
Wow, Julie, I don't know whether to laugh or cry at this cast of characters here. Self-proclaimed professionalism and expertise. I mean, I think based on our policies and procedures of guests that you have on the program and those of us in the field with the educational background, practitioner-based experience, I'm not sure how one can simply proclaim to be a legal advocate, and it's just very confusing to me how and why that's the crown.
Again, who are we talking about here? Because they're both calling themselves legal advocates. Are we talking about Gypsy Rose here? Or are we talking about Casey Anthony? Because I feel like we're talking about one and the same. I get confused when they are talking about both of these cases. And when they're talking about it, they're very heavily leaned against Casey Anthony, but not realizing that they could be talking very well about Gypsy Rose as well.
Individuals want to wear, when those of us who really do the deep dive into their backgrounds know the heinous conduct displayed. So I almost think it's laughable.
Right, Dr. Debbie. They both don't have a great track record. Jen Coffindaffer, your thoughts on this?
Well, good morning. This is my thought. Money, money, money. You know, right now, Gypsy Rose is worth about $3 million. And that's because of what she does on social media. And Casey Anthony is just looking at getting right aboard that gravy train and riding it. If you look at what she says, everything is I and me, and I was thrust into this, and this has been asked of me or put upon me. It's all baloney. It's about the dollar bill.
Oh, I love that analysis, Jen. Thank you. Joe Tamburino, what do you think? Is Gypsy right to call out Casey?
Yeah, she's absolutely right. I mean, it's too bad it's coming from that kind of a source, but she's absolutely right. And I agree with Jennifer. This is all about the money. And, certain cases, people should just go away. In the Casey Anthony case, I mean, we all knew what happened back with Kaylee's death in 2008. And at this point in time, she should just stay in the background. I don't see a reason why she's doing this other than the money.
Right, Joe. Great points. And that's been the public sentiment. Go away, Casey, is what so many people are saying. Tanya writes, quote, "You had a chance to speak out when your daughter went missing, but instead you chose tattoos, bars, and wet t-shirt contests." And goes on to say that, Casey, your narcissism still shines through 16 years later. And Casey responded to her critics, telling them, quote, she's not afraid of them. Says, "You've tried to silence me for years. I have a private life. I still will. Spoke out. I still have fought for my daughter." And that she'll continue that.
I mean, right? We're supposed to get very familiar with her car. She's going to keep her privacy. We're just going to get to know her car.
Right. So we also want to know, how long do we think Casey's legal advocacy career is going to last? And Dr. Debbie, back to you.
I would say short-lived, Julie. It's the topic of the moment, and I agree with Joe. This should just be somebody who now leads a humble, low-key life rather than, and I think it does speak to the grandiosity and the narcissism that a lot of these individuals have. They're in this.
Well, we can hope that it'll only be short-lived and that she'll go away again, but she's getting quite a lot of money this time around, so I have a feeling that she's up for the hate this time.
If you tell me I should go tonight, then I'll do my best to leave. But as fate has so decided now, I simply cannot find a way. Am I doomed to travel endless roads and spend my days and nights with broken thoughts?